right, there we are. Okay, so we're outside today, so we're gonna take a seat in your chair. Set your feet onto the ground. Maybe pad your feet a little bit to feel the ground below your feet. Rest your hands in your lap. Set your shoulders on your back and sit up nice and tall as you comfortably can. So we're not really straining to sit up tall, but just a sense of lift through your spine. Good. And then gazing straight ahead, soften your eyes a little bit and start to turn your attention inwards. And just notice for yourself where your body is at, how your body is feeling, how your breath is feeling. You might even start to notice, what sort of thoughts you might be having here. If there's any emotional sensations you're having as well. Take a moment and notice. And as best you can, try not to judge any of these observations. Log them. More like taking a list of like, okay, this, then this, then this. Not deciding if it's good or bad, right or wrong, wanted or unwanted. I don't know if you can hear it, but a very big truck making its way by. So hopefully that's not disturbing the sound too much for you. But we're going to start now just deepening the breath a little bit. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the nose. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the nose. Big breaths in and out. And in and out. Establishing that deeper yogic breath for yourself. And you might play around a little bit, whether you're breathing in and out through your nose or in through your nose and out through your mouth. They have different effects. If you're finding yourself maybe a little in your head, a little thinking a lot, or kind of distracted, sometimes actually breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth can feel very grounding. So you could give that a try. If you're finding yourself feeling a little heavy in the body, maybe a little kind of resistant to moving or lethargic, breathing in and out through the nose can be helpful there. Good. Let's start warming up the body. Now we're going to start from the head, working down towards the toes. So beginning here with the head, turning the head towards the right, and then into center, and then towards the left, and center, and right, center, and left, center. One more time each side, turning towards the right, just as far as is comfortable, and then bringing your head right into center, and then over to the left again, just as far as is comfortable. And coming back into center. Then let's take the head down, chin towards the chest, and then lift the chin up, gazing up towards the sky. Good. And then chin down towards the chest, and then lifting up towards the sky. Beautiful. Again, down towards the chest, and up towards the sky. Nice. Let's bring the chin down towards the chest now, and gently slide your chin from one side to the other, creating a little bit of a motion and stretch along the back of the neck. Be kind and caring towards the neck and spine here. If this is not feeling okay for you, or maybe it's not appropriate for you, if you have any sort of osteoporosis in the neck, sometimes taking the head forward is not okay. So you might stay with the side to side turning instead. If this is feeling okay for your head and your neck, you might start to take some head rolls, taking the head towards one side, rolling it back and then down and across. Use your breath here to help so that as the head comes back, inhale and create a little cushion there at the back of the head, and then exhale and let the head come down. So that inhale breath helps kind of expand some space at the base of the neck there, which supports the head as you roll it around. And then try changing the direction. Try rolling the head the other way. And remember, we're just warming things up here, exploring, checking in. You truly do start with a different body each day. So we're taking time to discover the body that we have today. Good. Let's bring the head now back into center. Once again, gazing forward, stacking that head right on top of the neck and feeling a sense of lift and lightness through the head. Good. Bringing the hands forward now, we're going to turn the palms to face forward and press the palms out in front. And then simply flip the fingers down towards the ground, stretching a little bit at the top of the wrists, and then flipping the fingers up and then down and up and down. Good. One more like that. Up and down. Very nice. Then bring your fingertips in towards your thumb. So you're kind of making little shadow puppets. Yep. And you're going to rotate the wrists here, drawing circles with those fingers. Might be a little bit of snap, crackle, and pop in those wrists. It's kind of depending on what's going on, but we're not working towards pain here. We're actually working towards freedom of movement. Good. Let's try rotating those wrists the other way. Good. Then bring those fingertips in towards the shoulders, lifting the elbows up about level with your shoulders if that feels okay, or as high as you comfortably can. And then let's open the elbows out to the side. Good. Then let's squeeze the elbows, maybe touching them in front, and then open them out to the side. Good. Squeezing in, opening up. Nice. Couple more times like that. Squeezing in and opening up. Beautiful. One more like this. This time, as we open the elbows out to the side, imagine your elbows were little jiffy markers here, and you could draw some circles with those elbows out to your side. So you're trying to draw circles here off to the side. Good. And just make the circles as big as you comfortably can. We're not looking to reef on anything here or pull on anything dramatically. We're just warming up the joints of the body, getting some energy moving, getting some fluid flowing through the muscles and tissues of the body. This is all going to help us move easier throughout practice. Let's try circling the other way. Draw some of those circles now in the opposite direction. Good. How's your breathing here? It's so lovely to practice outside. It feels just even better to take some deep breaths when the air is fresh like this. Beautiful. Let's take those elbows again, level with the shoulders, and spread the hands right over top of those elbows so the palms are facing forward. So sometimes we call this cactus pose. Good. Then we're going to inhale and extend the arms straight up. Now, if extending your arms overhead is not available to you, you could extend your arms straight out in front. That's okay too. So we're going to inhale as we reach the arms out. Then we're going to curl fingers over the thumbs, pull the elbows into the sides of the body as you exhale. Inhale to extend, exhale to pull in. Working a little stronger with the breath now. Inhale through the nose. Let's exhale out the mouth. Inhaling, exhaling. Good. Inhaling, exhaling. Now this is a lovely pace. You could stay with this pace or join me as we start to speed it up a little bit. Good. Keep going. Get that energy moving. Think of this as a pump, starting to pump some fresh oxygen, some fresh blood through the body, pushing out all of that stagnation, that lethargy from sleep. Good. Any of that worry or concern is just being moved right out of that body and mind. Good. Keep going. 5 more. Good. 2 more. Last one. Good. Inhale, extend those arms out or up. Big breath in. Slow exhale out the nose as you pull the elbows back into the sides of the body. Good. Inhale, reach up and out. Slow pull back into the sides of the body. One more like this. Inhale. And pull it in. Beautiful. Release the hands now onto your knees, stretching the arms straight out and head as straight as you can make them. They might not go perfectly straight, and that's okay. And we'll get some motion going on here in the middle of the spine. So let's just simply start by sliding the rib cage, sorry, from side to side. And I'm doing a pretty big motion here, so your motion doesn't need to be that big. It could be a little smaller, but we're just looking for a little bit of movement from side to side. And you might add in your head, tick-tocking the head in the opposite direction that the rib cage is going. Good. You might already start to feel, I can feel it now. It's already starting to get some more energy moving. The flexibility and mobility of our spine is so essential to the flexibility and mobility of the rest of the body. So just by getting the spine moving, we can really help to get the rest of the body moving. Beautiful. Let's bring that rib cage to center and now move that spine forward and back. So through some cat-cow posture here. So we're going to inhale. And as we do, lift the chest up, send the belly forward, take those shoulders back and look up. Then as you exhale, hug the belly in, take those shoulders forward, round down and in. Inhale to fill up and arc the back again, just going to where it's available and comfortable for you. Then exhale and curl, rounding down. Good. Keep moving like this, starting to engage or include the motion of the hips along with the motion of the shoulders. So as the shoulders come forward, the hips actually tip back. And then as the shoulders go back, the hips kind of start to tip forward. And we're accentuating the action of the spine here. All right. Beautiful. A few more like this. Enjoy long, full breaths here as you move. Good. Now let's come back to center and add these motions together to create a circle-like motion with the spine. So we're going to take that rib cage and again, bring it forward. Then we're going to shift it over to the right. Then we're going to hug it back in through center, rounding the spine as you shift to the left. Then bring it forward, lifting up and going to the right. Then curling back through center and going to the left. Good. Circling here through the rib cage. You might feel a little bit of motion in the hips, but we really want the main circular motion happening in the rib cage. If it's helpful, sometimes you can think that I'm there with you with my hands on your rib cage and I'm moving that rib cage around in a circle motion. Good. Let's try circling it the other way. Same motion, but reverse it. Go back the other direction. If you're moving the rib cage, you'll actually feel kind of a churning motion in the belly. So good to do as we start to tone and stimulate the digestive organs. Good. Beautiful. Let's take that rib cage now and find center with the rib cage, stacking it right over top of the hips and letting the arms now come to your sides, sitting tall in Tadasana. Palms open, shoulders back. Good. Now watch as the shoulders come onto the back, that we're not splaying that rib cage forward. We're keeping it contained into the center of the body, and the shoulders are just settled naturally to the back of the body. Good. Turn the palms now to face into the sides of your body, letting them come closer down and in. And we're going to slowly curve the spine towards your right as you reach towards the ground on your right side. Now, again, be mindful of your spine. Sometimes with osteoporosis, this compression on the right is not okay for you, and that's fine. You're going to work to sit up even taller. Good. If you are curving to the right, let's inhale and come back up into center, and then curve over to your left. Reaching actively down towards the left side of the chair. Then inhale back up into center and curve over to the right. Watching that as you curve, you're also not collapsing forward. Keep a sense of openness through your chest. Let's inhale back into center and go over to the left. Beautiful. Inhale center one more time each side. Let's reach actively down towards the right side as though you were about to pick something up off the floor and come back up into center and then reach over to the left. One more time, descending down to the left side, inhaling back up into center. Oh, beautiful. Palms forward, returning to that Tadasana. Okay, we're going to move some of our work now down into the feet, working from the feet up to the hips. I like to think of the hips, this area is kind of the centered point. So we're going to bring from the feet some motion up into the hips. So starting with the feet here, let's just tap the feet. Alternating tapping with the feet. This is so good for blood flow through the legs. This simple alternate tapping with the feet. Good. So you could always put on your favorite song and let your feet tap away. This is also really good to help build the support and structure around the knees. So if you're finding you have some kind of weakness growing through the knees, some simple tapping, but active tapping, you're going to do it for a little while. Really helpful for starting to build that structure again around the knees. Good. You might feel it in the ankles as well. We're getting some blood flowing through the feet. And we're freeing up some energy in the ankles. So there might be a little bit of kind of snap, crackle, and pop in those ankles. Good. Then we're going to do the alternate motion here. So we've been lifting and lowering the toes, right? The front part of the foot. We're going to reverse it now and do heels. So I like to think of this as sort of stomping, but your toes are staying on the floor. So now you're lifting and lowering alternate heels, giving a little stomp as you do. So I love this. This is so good for your lymphatic system and getting drainage moving out of the legs. So very common, especially if we need to sit for a fair bit of time, we start to get some swelling in the legs. So this motion through the feet helps to move some of that fluid around, get it moving back up into the organs where it belongs and where the organs are best suited to move it out of the body. All right, keep stomping those heels. Good. And remember to sit up tall and find that yogic breath, that deep breath. Beautiful. Let's just do a couple more because they feel so good. And then let your heels come onto the floor. Deep breath in and out. Nice. Taking your right foot now, you can slide it forward, flex the right toes back towards your face and feel a nice length and stretch down that right leg. Your right leg might not be perfectly straight, and that's okay. Essential here, though, you are working to lift your rib cage a little higher and away from your hips, creating some space here again in that centered position, that centered space. Good. Then bring your hands onto your thighs and slowly start to slide yourself down your legs. That right leg is straightish as you work your way down. Now be mindful of blood pressure here. If you need to take a little care for your blood pressure, keep your head above your heart. Your right hand might come down to tap those right toes. It might not. You might not go quite as far, and that's okay. Let's inhale and come back up. Really nice. Place that right foot on the floor or on the ground, and let's take the left leg forward. Flex the left toes back. Find that lifted, tall seat, and you're going to keep that sense of light. This is the challenge often. When we start to come forward, first we tend to collapse here. So keep lots of space for your organs as you fold down over your legs, sliding your hands over that right knee and left knee. Maybe that left hand goes further down. Again, only going to where it's appropriate for you, keeping your head above your heart if you need. Maybe you tap those left toes with your left hand, maybe not. Let's inhale now and rise back up. Oh, so good. Place that left foot on the floor, return to your Tadasana. Sitting tall, big yogic breaths here. Get that energy moving. Beautiful. We're going to take the right leg now and again, extend it forward like you did, flexing the toes back. And you have the option to stay here, squaring the legs with the hips. especially if you have any concern for your hips and low back. Keeping the legs in line with the hips is caring for that space. You could also try opening the leg out towards the right, but again, be mindful of your hip and only go as far out to the right that is comfortable for you. You want to try to keep a flex of that right foot up towards your face. So the toes are trying to come kind of up towards your thigh. Yeah. It doesn't actually, but you're trying to, you're moving that way. Good. All right. So this time we're going to take the left hand onto the chest, the right hand on the right thigh. So whether your right leg is out to the right or forward, either is fine. We're going to start to slide that right hand now down that right leg again. This time as you come down, lift the chest up into your left hand and roll your left shoulder back, gazing slowly off towards the left. Deep breaths here and finding some space between the rib cage and the hips again. See if you can open up a little bit of lift, a little space there while maintaining this twist. Soften through the jaw and the face. I know this is a little bit more work, so you might notice a little grimacing or tightening. See if you can keep some space there. Good. Let's press down into both feet. So right heel, left foot pressing down as you inhale back up into center. Bring that right foot in. Both hands on the chest. Deep breaths here. Whew. Good. Let's change sides. Left leg forward, toes flexing back. You can stay here. Aligning the legs with the hips is the kind of most care you can give for your hips here. But if the hips are able, if there's no injury in there, you could try opening the leg up. But if there's concerns for the hip or the low back, keep it in line. That's okay. Right hand now stays on the chest. Left hand comes onto the left thigh, actively flexing those left toes back. Inhale here again to create space. Keep the breath moving though as you take your exhale to slide that left hand down the left leg. Roll that right shoulder back and float the chest into the right hand, taking the gaze up towards the sky. Sometimes here the tendency is to drop the head over to the side, kind of let it hang. Try to resist that. Keep the head in line with the neck a little bit here. So there's a bit more effort there, but it's safer for the neck. Good. Big full breath. Beautiful. Press into the right foot, the left heel, and inhale back up into center. Release the hands to your side. Step that left foot in and return to your Tadasana. Okay, take the left hand. Now we'll come into our seated twist. Last little ringing out before we move on. We're going to take the left hand to the right thigh. Right hand can come onto your right hip or to the back of your chair as you slowly twist to look towards your right. Both feet flat on the floor, both hips rooted in the chair. And then the spine, like a big tall tree, can grow upwards towards the sky. Move that breath. On your next inhale, gently unwind your upper body, and we're going to come right on over to the other side. Right hand to the left thigh, left hand behind you. Twisting gently through the upper body to look to the left. Rooting the feet, rooting the hips. So the twist is coming right into the spine. How's your breathing here? Lovely. Inhale, unwind the upper body, come back into center. Okay, let's do a little bit. I had a special request the other day for some work with the wrists. So let's just do a little bit more there. Then we're going to come to stand as an option. So for everybody here, you're going to bring your fingers over your thumbs. So you're making some fists and then match those fists so they're kind of squeezing into each other. So the knuckles are meeting and you're squeezing here, bringing the hands to the center of the chest. Elbows are lifted a little. They don't have to be as high as the shoulders, especially if the shoulders then float up to the ears. Keep those shoulders down. Keep the neck long. Good. Hands are starting here at the chest. And we're gonna keep those not those, fists pressing together as you start to bring the hands forward, and you'll notice a place where it gets a little, ooh, a little sticky. Like, if I go forward, I'm gonna peel the hands apart or I'm gonna, lower the arms. Just stay where you start to feel that. Breathe there. Keep sitting tall. Keep softening those shoulders. They're probably gonna want to tighten up. That's a habit many of us have. So keep those shoulders as soft as you can and let this just come from the arms. Good. And then bring the hands as they are, fists touching back into the chest. We're going to do that 2 more times. Bringing those fists forward, keeping them touching as they come forward, and just go to where it feels a little sticky. You're like, oh, oh, there, I feel it. And we hold there. And holding just at the start of that sticky place kind of melts the stickiness a little. But we do have to hold it, and the breath is kind of the heat that melts that stickiness. Good. Let's try one more. Bring the fists back in. If you need to realign them, recommit them by pressing them into each other. And then last time, bringing them forward. Again, you're only going, I can feel it here that I want to go a little further, but then my shoulders start to hunch up. So keep the shoulders down. Just go to where there's a start of something, something maybe a little uncomfortable, but no pain. We hold here, we breathe here. Beautiful. Let's release those hands out now. Spread the fingers and place the hands onto the thighs. Close the eyes for a moment. Take some deep yogic breath. Good. As a little counter motion for the wrists. Interlace your fingers now and gently press the palms forward. Now, if interlacing the fingers is painful for you at all, you could hold on to one wrist with the other hand and press through the palm that way. From here, I'll encourage you now to start to lift the arms up just again as high as is available to you without the shoulders starting to shrug up to the ears. We want to keep those shoulders down. Good. From here, start to press into your feet and feel the strength as well down the legs. So we've got strength coming up the arms and strength going down the legs. Now from here, you have an option. I'm just turning myself so you can see the angle to start to come forward a little bit, hinging at the hips. You're coming forward maybe a quarter of the way at the most. This is going to add a fair bit of work and effort into the back. So if you have any concerns for the spine, stay upright as we are. But if the spine's feeling okay, come forward slightly. If having the arms overhead is tiring at all, you can also extend the arms more straight out in front and separate the hands. That's okay too. I know this is a lot of work. You got it. Let's press into the feet here. Now for the last final option, if the knees and hips and low back are feeling okay, you might shift some weight off of the chair into your legs and hover the hips from the chair. Wherever you are, release your hands now and bring those arms down to the sides of the body. Like wings, turn the palms towards the ground and the shoulders on the back. Good. Breathing here. Let's inhale those arms up by the ears, stretch them out, and then exhale, take them down. Good. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down. Beautiful. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. 3 more. Keep going. You've got it. Pumping again, moving fluid, moving oxygen, moving blood through the body, energizing those muscles, energizing all the tissues of the body, energizing the mind. Beautiful. Inhale. Now let's rise up. Press down to reach up, stretch up, look up. Exhale, release those arms and let them drop. Good. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up, look up, reach up. Exhale, let it drop. Good. Inhale, arms up. Big, big, big breath in here and then let it go. Whew. Good. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Shake it out. Shake out those arms. Shake out those legs. Wiggle it out. Good. A good little wiggle If you're feeling kind of odd or worried, or you're feeling a little lethargic, a good little wiggle can do a lot to re-energize and balance the body and the mind. All right, let's come into Tadasana once more. So if you're sitting, hands are at the sides, feet parallel. Same if you're standing. Stacking shoulders over the hips, floating the heart high, gaze straight ahead. Beautiful. Let's come into half moon pose here. We're going to take the right hand towards the side of the body, left arm reaching out and up, sweeping it up overhead or fingertips to the shoulder, and starting to curve over towards your right. Good. So standing or sitting, the action is the same. If you're standing, be aware what's happening with the hips because you don't have the chair to kind of reference. Sometimes we start to slide those hips all over the place. Let's try to keep the hips right over the heels. For the last couple breaths, you might bring that right hand up to hold the left wrist and accentuate that stretch. But that's up to you in deciding based on what's best for your body today. Beautiful. Let's come back up into center and release those arms down. Return to your Tadasana. Full body breaths here. Try to breathe in such a way where you feel it in every part of the body. Good. Then let's take the left hand, turn the left hand in, take that right palm out, take the right palm out and up, or fingertips to the shoulder, and curve over to your left. Watch those hips if you're standing. If you're sitting, you can commit the hips by pressing them into the chair just a little bit. Then you might take that left hand up for the last few breaths and hold that right wrist, accentuating a little bit of that stretch. But again, only if that feels good for you. Wherever you are is perfect. Being fully present where you are is the key. That's the practice. Let's come back up into center now and release those arms to the sides, returning once more to Tadasana, taking deep body breaths here. So nice. Okay, for those of you who are standing, you could take your chair now to the top of your mat and turn the seat of the chair to face you. If you're sitting, stay seated as you are. We're going to meet you there in Tadasana. So if you're standing, you're facing the seat of the chair, there's a bit of space there. You might gauge that as we go forward on where that space is best for you. All right, from here, let's flow a little bit. We're going to inhale with the arms lifting as high as you can. Exhale, unfolding, hands to the knees or the seat of the chair. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend those elbows and fold down. Again, being mindful of blood pressure here. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, bend those elbows, fold in. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Now, if you're standing, step your feet back. Come into downward facing dog. Heels on the floor, hips out over the heels. If you're sitting, feet flat, interlace those hands again, press the palms up. This is your downward facing dog. Good. From here, you might come into plank pose. If you're sitting, hands to the knees, lean forward, shoulders back, lift the chest up, look up. If you're standing, slide those hips forward, shoulders over the wrists, lift the chest forward, look up, upward facing dog. Then exhale back. Let's all return to downward facing dog. Big breaths here in down dog. Okay, those who are standing, your right leg now is going to step forward towards the chair. Bend your right knee so it's stacking directly on top of your right ankle. You might walk your left foot back a little bit, but keep the left heel on the floor and the toes pointing relatively straight forward. Holding here. If you're sitting in the chair, your right foot stays flat, your left leg comes out, flexing the toes back. Looks familiar, right? Those who are sitting in the chair, you might take your arms now up overhead, maybe bringing the palms together in a prayer position or interlacing the hands and pressing the palms up. For those who are standing, you might keep your hands on the chair. That's great. If you're feeling quite steady on the feet today, you might bring one hand at a time up onto your front thigh, starting to send the back of your hips down, drawing your belly in. You might lift so the shoulders are on top of the hips, and arms might come up overhead into warrior one. So anywhere along the way here, you are practicing warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Steady breath, steady mind. Beautiful work, everybody. One more breath here. And then let's release the hands down, taking this right foot back if you're standing into downward dog. If you're sitting, both feet flat on the floor, interlace your hands, press your palms forward and up. We're returning to downward dog and breathing here. Those who are standing, notice if you're locking your knees, soften the knees a little bit. Send those hips back. Good. Then let's come forward again to plank pose. Shoulders on the back, chest lifted, gaze lifted. If you're sitting, hands on the knees, leaning forward slightly, shoulders back, little arc in the spine, upward facing dog. Then let's go back to downward facing dog. From here, those who are standing, take your left foot towards the chair. And be mindful as you step that left foot forward, make sure it doesn't step in front of the right foot. We're trying to keep a bit of space here. It helps with balance. The left knee bends, stacking on top of that left ankle, right heel heavy on the ground. Gaze forward. If you're sitting, your left foot's flat, right leg's forward, toes flexing back, arms rising as high as you comfortably can. Gaze upwards, energy lifting upwards. Excuse me. Those who are standing, you have the option here. Stay as you are. This is a beautiful pose, great for the legs and hips. You might bring your hands up onto that front thigh, but as you start to lift, notice what's happening in your hips. You want to start to send the back of the hips down and the front of the hips up. So we contain the belly here for support. Then maybe the arms come up. Yeah. Wherever you are, breathe. Big breaths in and out. That's the key. Big breath. Stay with that breath. You've got this. Very nice. Let's slowly take your time. Release the hands down onto the seat of the chair if you're standing, or on your lap if you're sitting. If you're standing, you're going to step back into downward facing dog. If you're sitting, interlace your hands, press your palms up, both feet flat on the floor. Good. From here, coming to your variation of plank pose, coming through to upward facing dog. And then let's all go back into that downward facing dog. Beautiful. Looking towards the chair if you're standing, walk forward towards the chair. Bring your hands up onto the back of the chair and lift up part way. We have had the head possibly below the heart a little bit here, so let's give blood pressure a chance to balance out before making your way all the way up, sitting or standing tall, returning to Tadasana. If you feel any lightheadedness or dizziness, please have a seat in your chair and let it pass before joining us again when you're ready. And those who are comfortable coming to the floor, make your way down in whatever way works for you. And you're going to come to sit next to your chair. So you're perpendicular to the chair. And then you'll bring your legs one at a time up on the chair. Now, if you're not comfortable coming to the floor, that is absolutely okay. Simply come to sit in your chair. If you happen to have a second chair close by, coffee table, maybe a hassock, grab that, place that in front of you, and let your legs come up onto a little prop like that. If you don't happen to have anything handy, that's okay too. Just make sure your feet are resting on a surface of some sort. So maybe you need to put a pillow under your feet or some blocks. And then wherever you are, whether you're sitting in the chair or on the floor, bring your hands to your belly and find again that deep yogic breath, that whole body breath. Oh, I wish I had a second camera here for you guys because my view is just beautiful. It's the most greenest of green and bluest of blue. The trees are a beautiful green and the sky is a perfect, lovely, clear blue sky. Beautiful. Let's start bringing a little bit more relaxation now into the nervous system of the body. And we'll do this with our Brahmari breath. This is our bumblebee breath. So you could imagine a beautiful fat little bumblebee buzzing around. We're going to make that little buzzing sound each time we breathe. So we start here by inhaling through the nose, placing the tongue at the roof of the mouth, softly resting it there so that as you exhale, you'll hum like that little buzzing bumblebee. And it creates a natural little vibration of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Each time you exhale, you create that vibration by humming. And we're going to start this breath together, but because we all breathe at a different rate, you'll start to do that Brahmari breath at your own rate, your own rhythm. So let's start here by taking an exhale. Just empty that breath. Oh, that's great. Now inhale through your nose to prepare. Place your tongue at the roof of your mouth and begin to Brahmari. Inhaling when you need to, and then Brahmari on your exhale. Keep going like that, and I'll signal when it's time to end this breath practice. One more. And let your tongue now drop away from the roof of the mouth. Soften your jaw, your throat. Release the effort of breathing and come now to ride the natural breath. Letting the body be very soft and receptive to this natural way of breathing. Whatever that is for you. Come into Ardha Padangusthasana here. You could bring your right knee now in towards your belly, taking your hands around your right shin or thigh and giving the leg a little squeeze. So whether you're on the floor or sitting in the chair, you're lifting your right leg in. Now, those sitting in the chair, sometimes lifting the right leg is just not an option for you, and that's okay. Simply then fold your upper body down over your legs, maybe resting your elbows on your thighs or wrapping your hands underneath your legs, kind of giving yourself a good bear hug here. Wherever you are, feel that breath moving as you just gently compress here on the belly. Beautiful, subtle stretch for the low back, or maybe not so subtle, depending on what's going on in the low back. All right, let's release that, placing the right leg back down or coming back up to seated. And then shifting sides, bringing the left leg in, giving that a little squeeze in, either behind the thigh or over the shin, or folding once more down around both legs if you're seated. Soften here. What can soften? Find ease in the places where there can be ease. Beautiful. If you're lying on the floor, you might take both legs now in towards the belly. Give them both a hug. If you're sitting in the chair, you're folded over both legs now, both feet flat on the floor, wrapping the arms underneath the thighs and squeezing in here. If you're lying on the floor, you can go ahead and roll yourself over onto one side. Press yourself up and away from your chair so you can come to lay onto your back and you've got lots of space around you. If you're sitting in the chair, you can come to remove any props you were using, so blocks or chairs, remove them out of the way, and then come to sit slightly forward on your chair with both feet flat on the floor. Good. So those in the chair, your heels are aligned with your knees are aligned with your hips. Those on the floor, it's a little different. We're going to walk the feet in slightly closer towards the hips. So they're probably a little bit further back under the knees. But gauge that for yourself. We don't want to put any pain in the knees. So if you need to bike them forward a little bit more, that's okay. From here, let's all press down into the feet and wake up that strength in the legs. If you're sitting in the chair, take your hands now around to the back sides of the chair. Wrap those shoulders back and send the heart up towards the sky, turning the gaze upwards and broadening through the chest. If you're on the floor, you're going to press your elbows now down into the floor, fingertips pointing towards the sky. As you press through your feet, root through those elbows and into the back of your head, slowly starting to lift the hips from the floor. Holding this back bend here wherever you are and finding motion of breath. So we are holding, but we're not rigid here, right? We're not stiff and squeezing and everything's really tight. We're not working so hard that we couldn't feel the breath move. We're always looking for that breath. That's what we want. And that's when we know that we're here and we're practicing, is when we can feel that breath. Beautiful. Those on the floor, as you now go to lower your hips, slightly shift your hips to the right so that as they come down on the floor, they're shifted over to the right. And there's this sort of diagonal line from your shoulders to your hips. Then you can open your arms out wide, lift the feet from the ground, and take your legs to the left, coming into your twist. If you're sitting in the chair, release your hands from the back of the chair. Take that left hand again and bring it onto the right thigh. Right hand might come onto the hip, or you might drape that right arm over the back of the chair, or for a little added effort, extend actively that right arm around behind you as you twist to look towards the right. One area here I find that we can soften and we don't even know we're holding tension is usually the feet. So see if you can soften the feet a little bit, maybe wiggle the toes. And same with the hands. Can the hands be a little bit more easeful, gentle, graceful looking? Lovely. Okay, those on the floor, take your time. You can keep your feet touching the ground as you slowly roll the hips back down, the knees come up. Then you're going to take your hips and slide them gently into center, letting the spine readjust before taking those hips and shifting them now over to the left. So now your hips are a little skewed to the left. The arms are still wide. The feet may lift as you turn the legs over towards your right, coming into the twist in the opposite side. If you're seated in the chair now, your right hand comes across to your left thigh. The left hand, again, the left arm, the left hand might be on your hip or the arm might drape over the back of the chair. Or for a little more active posture, that left arm is actively extending back behind you as you twist to your left. Again, find a little release where you can, a little softness and a little gentleness. Beautiful. Those on the floor with the feet still touching the ground, slowly ease the knees back up. And take your time to bring your hips again in line with your spine, letting the knees fall in together and resting the hands on the lap, on the belly, sorry. If you're sitting in the chair, slowly unwind your upper body and rest the hands in your lap here as well for a moment for the spine to come back to its centered position. Those in the chair now, I invite you to slide all the way to the back of your chair. Maybe once again, putting a pillow or some blocks under your feet if they dangle, or maybe a pillow in your lap. For those on the floor, you might extend your legs out now onto the ground. If you find having your legs extended kind of pinches or aggravates the low back at all, you could take a bolster and place it underneath your knees. So there's a bit of support there. You might, if you have a blanket, drape a blanket over top of you. That little added weight and warmth can be very comforting and soothing for the nervous system. But wherever you are here, you're coming to settle your body now into a position where the body feels pretty supported, as supported as you can make it. So if you're in the chair and you need to put a pillow behind your back, do that. But you're also in a position here where the right side and the left side of the body are about the same. They're doing about the same thing. And the weight distribution of your body is about the same. We're actually creating quite a neutral experience here for the body as best you can, allowing the nervous system to what's called sort of down regulate. So now allowing that nervous system to kind of receive a little less information just for a moment. So it can actually rest, regenerate, and digest all the information it's been taking in. We go still and quiet as the eyes may close. We release the effort of doing, and we start to revel in the beauty of simply being. Being with all that is, just as it is. Knowing that we are safe, we are loved and cared for just as we are. Let's take a few moments to rest here, and I'll bring us back when it's time to close the practice. without actually moving your body at all. Simply tune back in to the feeling of your breath and the experience of your body resting here just as it is. Recognizing that right now, there's nothing you need to do. There's nowhere you need to be. You can simply be here, experiencing this moment right now, experiencing the body at rest, maybe the mind feeling just a little calmer, enjoying this moment. You're welcome to stay resting here for as long as you like. If you're feeling ready to close your practice, you may now start to move your body in tiny, curious little ways. Again, like you're waking up to this new experience of a body. The body now that you have is not the body you had when you started practice. It's different, it's changed. And we explore that change, that newness, with loving kindness and curiosity. You might start to curl and uncurl your toes or point and flex your feet. You might curl and uncurl your fingers or rotate your ankles, or sorry, your wrists. You might start to turn your head from one side and then the other. If you're lying on the floor, as you feel ready, you might bend your knees, maybe lifting the knees in towards the belly and rolling yourself over again onto your side. Resting on your side for a moment. If you're sitting in a chair, you might fold forward, resting your elbows on yourself kind of hang out here for a moment. Repatterning any sense of urgency that we might have learned to have in our day. And instead, staying very conscious, slow, with experiencing the day. From this gentle space, you might start to bring yourself back up to your seat, maybe sitting in your chair, maybe sitting on the floor or the ground. But taking a comfortable seat that once again allows you to lift long and tall through your spine. Once you're in your seat, to close practice, let's bring hands together in front of the heart into Anjali Mudra, pointing the way of the heart upwards. Take a moment to open the eyes and look up, feeling once again the energy lift up. And with a smile, softly close the eyes and humble the mind down towards the heart. Sending in a deep thankfulness, a deep gratitude towards the heart for guiding you towards, into, and through practice today. Thank you all so much for continuing to come and to practice yoga together. Namaste.